Welcome to the Ari Hoffman Show on Talk Radio 570 KVI, your home for the politically homeless, streaming live at KVI.com and the KVI app. If you want to be part of the most dangerous show on the airwaves, call or text the Warrior Injury Law Studio line at 206-421-5757. That's 206-421-5757. Coming up this hour, economic fallout from the shutdown, and it isn't good, but in some good news, Federal Way has a new flag policy. But before we get to any of that, time for your daily dose of adrenaline.
You want me to stick this into my heart? Are you f***ing nuts?
Earlier today, Seattle Mayor Bruce Harrell conceded the election to Katie Wilson. No surprise there. Seattle Mayor Bruce Harrell doesn't seem to know how he lost re-election after ticking off moderates, Democrats, Republicans, progressives, liberals, Jews, Christians, Hamas supporters, Antifa, police, and firefighters. You can only tick off half those people in an election. You managed to tick off every single one of them. Oh, wait. I forgot the ones you ticked off the most. The Sonics fans.
Is 2024 the year that we have an announcement about the Sonics?
Well, I'll put it this way. I've never been more optimistic. I'm literally having discussions with friends that are in position to help make this happen. There's been some great movement on the NBA.
Oh, shut up. You didn't do it, and then you made a joke about a basketball. You made a joke during your State of the Union address. You pulled out a basketball. You've been promising the Sonics were going to come back since you were on the Seattle City Council and lost them in the first place. You managed to tick off everybody in this city, and you are wondering how you lost the election. Seriously, at this point, that's how dense this guy is. He doesn't understand how he lost the election. Maybe he's thinking to himself, a reporter asked him today during the press conference, would you have done anything differently? And immediately in my mind, it popped into, well, maybe if he hadn't made that Sonics joke about the team coming back, then maybe he would have won again. No, of course not. That's not what would have happened. Maybe it was pulling a gun on a pregnant woman in a casino parking lot over a dispute over a parking space back in the 90s. Maybe it was that. Basically what it was, he never did his job. He made a whole bunch of big promises, never delivered on a single one of them, and liked the idea of being mayor, didn't actually like the doing the job of being mayor. Here's what he said today when he conceded the election.
I, of course, want to thank all of you for being here with me today. I just spoke with Mayor-elect Katie Wilson to congratulate her on a hard-fought victory. I let her know that our team is standing by to make noise in the background. I let her know that our team is standing by to begin the transition work without hesitation, and that I look forward to welcoming her to City Hall in the near future, and I wish her well, and it was a very delightful conversation. So I feel very good about that conversation, and I feel very good about the future for this country and this city still. That is the attitude we have to have, and I hope that everyone that can hear the sound of my voice feels the same.
I've never heard a guy say so much but say so little at the exact same time. In fact, this press conference was an hour long today, and he didn't really say anything of consequence at all. It was him really just trying to preserve his legacy and talk about all the awesome stuff he did. Funny, he didn't mention how he demonized Christians who were having a rock concert in a park, which his parks department sent them to, and then how he allowed Antifa to attack them, and then how he demonized the police department for trying to defend them, and then how he issued statement after statement condemning the Christians. You know, when you pick a fight with the religious folks, it doesn't end well for you. They showed up at City Hall to protest him. He spent the rest of the year trying to get back in their good graces, and he was never able to do it. He tried to out-progressive Katie Wilson, who admitted today, flat out, if you didn't know it, flat out, here's what she said. Here's what she said that she is today.
And to all those who opposed my election and are skeptical of my leadership, you know who you are. There are many of you.
I'm one of them.
I'm very aware that there is anxiety and fear in some circles. I say, tough luck. It looks like you're going to have to deal with me. Joking. I say, this is your city, too. I'm a coalition builder. I know that we are in this together, and we cannot tackle the major challenges facing our city unless we do it together. I will be a mayor for everyone. I will listen and I will learn. And although we may not always agree, I am absolutely committed to working together whenever and wherever we can for the good of the city and for all of its residents. And I know, especially in the challenging times that we are in, how important partnerships will be, not just within Seattle, but with King County and throughout Washington State and beyond. I am so looking forward to working in close collaboration with all of our city council members and our new city attorney, with our incoming King County executive, Gurmai Zahalai, with Governor Bob Ferguson and Attorney General Nick Brown, and so many others, as we work to improve the quality of life in our city and state and protect our residents from federal overreach. As a progressive and as a socialist.
There we go. There it is. That's before she announces more taxes, by the way. There it is, right there. Seattle Mayor Bruce Harrell tried to out-progressive a socialist, a self-identifying socialist, a member of the Democratic Socialists of America, and progressives are never going to pick the moderate faker over the actual socialist. By the way, let this be a lesson to everybody who's a Republican who tries to run as a moderate. That don't work around here either. At least go down being the one, at least saying the things you believe in. Pretending to be a moderate, they see right through that. Pretending to be a Democrat, they see right through that also. Now, there was a weird moment in Bruce Harrell's campaign, and I'm not talking about the time he said he wanted to start a rapping career. I'm not kidding. That actually happened. He said he wanted his stage name, his rap name, to be B. Rusi. You get it? You get it? Funny? Haha? Yeah. So, aside from that moment, you know what the weirdest moment was? When he was talking about the actual election results. You're talking about less than 2,000 votes separated these two candidates. But like Bruce Harrell, who never really fought for anything before in his life, never stood on principle at all, he didn't even try to fight for this, but he did say two things that were a little odd. Here's number one.
The Wilson administration will have new ideas. They will have a new vision. By winning the election, they have earned that right. We must listen to the young voters. We realize that when I had won in 2021 to this current election, there were 12,000 more ballots of people who voted. New people with new ideas. There were over 15,000 new registered voters.
Whoa. Whoa, 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 whoa. That's a lot more than you usually get in an election like this. 12,000 new ballots, 15,000 new voters. How are they verified? How did they register to vote? Who are they? Are they illegal? We don't know. We don't do voter ID around here. A normal person would challenge the election results. If there's 15,000 new registered voters, you lost by 2,000. Who are the 15? Are these legit ballots? But Bruce Harrell isn't going to challenge them. By the way, he could have made a huge mark on Seattle's elections if he had actually challenged any of this. He doesn't do fights. He just caves. We know that with Kshama Sawant. We know that with everything. He caves to the socialist agenda. Let's not forget, at the beginning of his term, he said he was going to do an audit of the LEAD program. That's the Law Enforcement Assisted Diversion program that doesn't believe in sending anybody to jail and just sends them back out in the world, and we have a prolific offender problem. And as soon as he said he was going to do that, Homeless Inc. came down on him. The police abolitionists came down on him, and no more. Nope, wasn't that. Then he said this.
Yeah, so to be candid with you, Sebastian, a lot of people were saying that I shouldn't concede and that there were anomalies and differences. This is a incredibly high voter turnout, and it was unexpected at these numbers.
Election denier! Election denier! He's an election denier. Anomalies? You're telling me there are anomalies. You're telling me it's a higher than normal turnout on an off year. You're talking about 15,000 new voters, and nobody's checking out any of this. Nobody's looking into any of this. He could have been the guy, but like everything else, he is a colossal, colossal failure. won't even do the fight. He didn't fight for the city. He didn't fight for public safety. He didn't fight for lower taxes. He didn't fight to undo the Sawant agenda, which we've been living under. He didn't fight for housing affordability. He didn't fight to get homeless people off the streets. He didn't fight against Antifa. He fought for whatever he thought was the path of least resistance. And this is what you get. A failure of a mayor who then paved the way for the socialist who's going to make things even worse. You want to know what her ideas are? This clip went viral yesterday about Katie Wilson's ideas.
Access to affordable, healthy food is a basic right. We cannot allow giant grocery chains to stomp all over our communities, close stores at will, and leave behind food deserts. Together we can build a Seattle where fresh food is for everyone, not just for those who can afford it. Food deserts are not natural. Corporations create them when they abandon our communities. As mayor, I'm excited to step up and with UFCW, explore public option grocery stores to fill those gaps.
Whoa. The Mamdani idea? We're going to have government-run grocery stores like the one in Indiana that just shuttered because it was such a failure of idea. I said to a friend of mine who runs a grocery store, I said to him, I go, dude, what do you think about government-run grocery stores? He just started laughing. He started laughing. He goes, it'll be out of business in a year. In a year, it'll be out of business. So you want government-funded grocery stores, or do you want to seize the grocery stores that are already here? Seize the means of production. Seize the goods. That doesn't sound like socialism. That sounds like communism. Or are you going to pass some law? It doesn't matter if homeless people are stealing all your products and prolific offenders are stealing all your products and it's not profitable for you to be in business anymore. We're not going to let you close. You're going to be like Hugh Jackman. Disney's not going to let that guy stop being Wolverine till he's 90, like they said so in that Wolverine Deadpool movie. Till you're 90, right? That's what this kind of sounds like to me. Sounds a little bit more than socialism. Sounds a little bit like communism. So, Katie Wilson gave her speech shortly thereafter. Bruce Harrell's speech was a lot like his administration. Said a lot, accomplished nothing. One of the most boring press conferences I've ever watched in my entire life. His sense of humor, not great. And his wife couldn't wait to get out of there. I love how she picked up her purse before Q&A, looking like she was making for the road, like, get me out of here. I want nothing more to do with this anymore. So, Katie Wilson starts off by talking about her socialist wish list.
There is an awful lot that I want to accomplish as mayor. I want everyone in this great city of ours to have a roof over their head. I want universal child care and free K-8 summer care. I want world-class mass transit.
Whoa. Child care, summer care. Now we're paying for camp. So wait a second. Katie Wilson, who had her parents pay for child care because she didn't have a real job and her husband refused to work, who's a baker, apparently, so he must be real excited about the bread lines that are going to be coming back because he'll have a lot of built-in clients. So she now wants free summer camp for everybody. What about your lazy husband? So because your lazy husband won't go to work and doesn't want to watch the kids, and your parents have been paying your bills this whole time, now I got to pay the bills for your kids to go to camp in the summer? Tell your husband to watch the kid. You're going to be making $230,000 a year now with no experience whatsoever. What else was on this socialist wish list?
I want great, safe public spaces where kids can run around with abandon.
Whoa, wait a second. You're the one who said you want the homeless people to live on the parks. You can't have both. How are you going to do that?
I want stable, affordable housing for renters. I want
rent control. Rent control. There goes. Rent's going up for everybody else. Rent control. She just said it.
social housing.
Social housing. That's going to be about as effective as the government-run grocery store.
I want much more land and wealth to be owned and stewarded by communities instead of corporations.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. Taxing all the corporations, redistribution of wealth. Yeah, who's going to build your housing for you, by the way?
I want a robust economy with thriving small businesses.
You ain't going to get that with all the other things you just listed, lady. Tell me you don't understand economics without telling me you don't understand economics.
Great living wage jobs and strong rights for workers. I want a city where everyone has the basics of a dignified life, including healthy food, access to health care, and supportive communities. I want a city where your health and your life expectancy and your children's future doesn't depend on your zip code or your race. I believe that I will be stepping into office with a strong mandate to pursue this vision.
Whoa, 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 whoa. You won by less than 2,000 votes. Your chicken coward of an opponent didn't contest the results, even though he had every right to do so and probably would have ended up winning this thing. And you're saying you have a mandate? You don't have a mandate. If you want to say the Seattle city attorney has a mandate, she has a mandate. If you want to say the city council has a mandate, they have a mandate. You, lady, do not have a mandate. You do not. You barely beat Bruce Harrell. How are you going to pay for this socialist wish list of insanity? How are you going to pay for all of this?
There were at least 3,500 undervotes.
Oh, wait, we'll come back to that one. How are you going to pay for this, Katie Wilson?
And then Mayor-elect Wilson, I mean, you're inheriting quite the budget deficit. You have quite the proposal, quite the goals, the ambitions. We know that on the progressive side, we typically hear we're expecting taxes. What can we expect from you in your coming administration?
So I think, first of all, I am very committed to making sure that we're using our existing resources as effectively and efficiently as possible. So we're going to be reviewing the ways that the city is spending money, and I think we're going to have to do that given the size of the budget deficit.
And spending on grocery stores.
And I am not averse to ending spending on programs that were maybe well-intentioned when they were first implemented but aren't fulfilling their goals.
So we can send the money on
So we're going to be doing the very best to be the best stewards of public resources we can. I do think that we will need to pursue new progressive revenue in order to fund our priorities and make sure that we're delivering services to the people of Seattle. There's several progressive tax options I proposed as part of my platform. And
Whoa. Fancy way of saying we're going to tax the hell out of you. That's the fancy way of saying that taxes. Oh, I love taxes. That's what she's saying. She thinks she has a mandate when there were less than 2,000 vote difference between these two. Also, you had 3,500 people, including yours truly, who said, I don't want to vote for either one of these fools because Bruce Harrell is trying to be Katie Wilson. There's no difference between the two of them. A reporter actually asked about this.
There were at least 3,500 undervotes for mayor, meaning nobody voted for you or Mayor Harrell. What does that say about this campaign, and what do you say to those voters who left that spot blank?
I can only guess at the motivation of those voters, but I would imagine that they're people who were not thrilled with Mayor Harrell's leadership, but maybe also got the very loud message about my inexperience.
Yes, exactly right, that you have none. And when you look at the list of endorsements, Lisa Herbold, Tammy Morales, Teresa Mosqueda, I'm shocked Kshama Sawant wasn't on that list. Pramila Jayapal, Mike O'Brien, Rebecca Saldana, all the people who have the same failed programs we've been doing year after year after year after year. She's a beard. She is literally an empty pants suit that they are putting in front of everybody who's just going to enact their socialist agenda. Now, whether you agree with Republicans, whether you agree with Democrats, this is neither one of those things. And I will ask the audience this question. We have been living under Sawant land most of the time I have lived in Seattle. What'd she get elected in 2010, 2012, something like that? We still have not gone back from that insanity that she hit us all with the taxes, with the crime, with everything else. I know they put on a good show. We have not repealed any of that. So, has any of that worked out for anybody? Except for maybe the drug dealers. Except for maybe the drug addicts. Doesn't work out for them. They usually die on the streets. This is a doubling down, a tripling down of the same failed policies. And the worst part is what Bruce Harrell said. During his press conference, he mentioned that they had spent $1 billion on the housing affordability and the homeless crisis. And that now, thanks to idiot taxpayers in Seattle who just voted for more taxes, they're going to spend $1 billion more. So they're doubling down on the failed housing first model. They are doubling down on all these failed policies, and Katie Wilson's going to dial that up to 11. Last person leaving Seattle, turn off the lights. Oh, wait a minute. You're not going to have electricity anymore. You're going to have to blow out the candle because it's going to be the North Korea, South Korea is what we're looking at here. Katie Wilson. Well, Seattle, it's been fun. Just put on the tombstone, rest in peace, 2025 right on there. We'll see what happens after this. Because I know a lot of people right now are talking about, is it even worth having my business here anymore? We go to the Warrior Injury Law Studio line, take a call from Weldon in Redmond. Weldon, what's going on?
Well, I listened to Katie Lennon's speech there, and she mentioned that she was looking forward to working with all these bureaucrats and government employees. She never said anything about looking forward to working with the voters, property owners, business owners, or any of the social programs that are privately done.
Well, here's a better one for you. I can prove she doesn't want to work with anybody. I reached out to her one time to ask her on the show. One time. One time after she made that stupid pizza commercial where she showed how little she knows about anything. Have you heard an interview with Katie Wilson on the show? No. So apparently she's not interested in any of that kind of stuff. I know she goes on with Phil. Phil's nicer than I am. I understand that, right? I understand she was on the morning show. But she isn't going to come on this show because she's not actually interested in working with anybody. She would just, for me, she's just going to repeat the same talking points she just said. She doesn't even know what they mean. And she was responsible. She was one of the architects, probably not her, but she was the beard for it then too, of the head tax that chased away all the companies out of here like Amazon over to Bellevue. Yeah, you're right. It's very, very clear who she's going to work with and who she's not going to work with. Appreciate the call. Appreciate you being part of the show. You want to be part of the show, you give us a call or a text at 206-421-5757. That's 206-421-5757. When we come back, my friends, the Starbucks baristas are on strike, and Katie Wilson's going to be joining them. Yeah, definitely going to chase away those corporations. You're listening to the Ari Hoffman Show on Talk Radio 570 KVI. Well, you guys are really spun up about Katie Wilson. I did like this one in reaction to her talking about seizing the grocery stores or government-run grocery stores. Matt says over on the text line, seizing the means of produce. Very good. I like that, Matt. Very, very good. This one here from Mike and Everett. Hey, Ari, the reason why socialism sounds like communism is because they are the same thing. And then he had a sound request.
It's not the same. Ours goes ding, 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 diggy, ding, ding. Ding, 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 diggy, ding, ding. Ding, ding, ding. That's the way theirs goes. Ours goes ding, 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 diggy, ding, ding. Ding, 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 diggy, ding, ding. That little bitty change. It's not the same.
Yes, famed political correspondent Vanilla Ice. Well done. Well done, Ice. This one here from John in Auburn. Ari, can Bruce Harrell put forth trip hazard legislation which hinders the new mayor from enacting her agenda? Sort of, but not really. And you need the city council, and they're on her side. And also, he never put up a fight before in his life. So why do you think he would do that now? This one here from Jeff and Kent. Okay, Jeff, this is funny. Even if Seattle had electricity, the druggies would have stolen all the wire. Yes, we've done many stories on that. However, I will say it's a little abnormal how we go through mayors around here like we go through electrical cabling. Joining us now in studio to discuss, senior political reporter for our sister station, Northwest News Radio, the one and only Jeff Pogolo. Welcome back to the show, my man.
Well, good afternoon, Ari.
Good to have you here.
Are you stirring in your grave now? Or
Grave?
Well, you're not
Are you
dead.
saying I'm
you're not
dead already?
Dead
wow,
yet, but,
man.
Pre-stirring in your grave,
putting
your
the
head's
hearse before the
exploding
horse.
and all of that.
Yes, exactly. So, Jeff, you took a little notice when Bruce Harrell made his comment today that he was mayor of Seattle twice, once for, what was it, like 18 days or
For
something?
6 days in 2017. This
6
is
days.
when Ed Murray resigned in disgrace over the child abuse scandal that happened at that time. Bruce Harrell was the president of the city council, so via the city charter, he ascended to the position of mayor, but declined to take that post for the remainder of that term.
Right. He just ran for city council again, didn't he? Or was that
no,
the
that's
end
when
of
he
it?
that's when he stepped aside.
That's when he stepped down and then ran
Yep.
for mayor the next time, right?
Yep.
That's what it was. Thank you. So we've been through a lot of mayors in what would have normally been a two-term mayor. How many has it been at this point?
7 mayors in 12 years.
7 mayors in 12 years. I assume that's not all because of snowstorms.
Well, a lot of it's snowstorms, but well, I should say at least one of it's because of snowstorms. If you're talking about Greg Nichols back in the day, a greater response, a B, when the city was just paralyzed, but the roads from his house to City Hall were conveniently plowed.
I did notice that.
Yeah.
That was before we had Zoom. I did enjoy when he said,
Well, this was 20 years ago.
right, he said he was going for a hard-packed surface. That was my favorite part. You mean ice, dum-dum? Okay, so who are these winners here, Jeff? What has been going on with these people?
With these people, with whom do you speak there?
I just mean, we go through mayors like water. What's going on here, man? We went through 4 in 1 year alone.
So you're asking about the Seattle voters?
No, I mean,
I was going to say they're impatient. They want change, and they want it right now. We haven't had a 2-term mayor, like you said, since Greg Nichols was reelected in 06, I believe. I'd have to double-check the year on that, or 05, rather. I was sworn into office on January 1st in 06. So it's been one mayor after the other who's had problems getting their agenda accomplished, getting their items done off their checklist, because inevitably you run into the special interests in any big city that push back on whatever you try to do, right, left, or indifferent. And then you have the city council who, for the last 10 years, has probably held more power than the mayor itself effectively. Not necessarily on paper, but they were able to enact the council's agenda more than the mayor was able to enact his agenda or her agenda.
I know it's not apples to apples, but the reason I'm bringing up this comparison, let's take New York and let's take
Of course,
Seattle.
you're going to go there.
But no.
Because you're from New York.
No, I'm not even going to talk about what you think I'm about to talk about. This is what I know. I know New York. You had Giuliani get termed out. You had Bloomberg, after him, get termed out. You had de Blasio get termed out. I assume you have more special interest groups in a place like New York than you have here. So how powerful are these special interest groups, or do you think it's Seattle voters don't even know what they want?
Well, the Seattle voters, I think, know what they want, but one thing you can't discount is the Trump effect on the ballot. He may not be running this year, but make no mistake, his coattails, if you want to call it that, his effect down ballot affects a lot of races. We saw this in the races for Seattle state legislature.
Here's where I'm going to stop you.
Well, I was going to say, Michelle Caldier, Republican, even mentioned this in her loss to Deb Krishna-Dawson out on the 23rd. But when the voters go to the polls, what is the most common politician they think of? It's the President of the United States. Good, bad, or indifferent, anytime you go to the polls, that's sort of in the back of the mind how the country is doing with regards to the president, and that affects the races down the ballot.
So I don't agree with that with regard to Seattle specifically. If you want to say Washington State, maybe. But the problem is you had three candidates who ran terrible races. Bruce Harrell ran a terrible race. Ann Davidson ran a terrible race. Sarah Nelson ran a terrible race. And there's so many other things at play here. If you hadn't been through all those mayors in 7 years, I would say there's a case to be made, but Seattle isn't voting for Trump anytime, and they did vote in a more moderate city council and mayor the last time.
Yes, and that was, but this, I would say, is not just the Seattle mayor's race, but the three city council positions that were up for re-election this year as well, was sort of a snap back from that. You had the quasi-experiment with moderate liberalism when you had Sarah Nelson running things, and you had a more moderate council. Seems like the voters have tried that. They didn't like it, especially now that Trump is in office. They want to go back to what they know and go back to a council and a mayor who is more actively pushing back against the Trump administration.
If that's what they want, it's going to be really fun to watch.
You disagree
regardless.
with that?
No, I'm saying is that I disagree with that. It was Trump that was the factor in this race.
I didn't say it was the factor. It was a factor.
I don't think it was as big as a factor as everybody else's. I think it's the fact that, for example, Katie Wilson did a great job with the ballot curing and the ballot harvesting and everything else, and Bruce Harrell was MIA. I think that a lot of this, they were fighting against Trump the whole time. They were saying, we're against Trump, we're against Trump. Bruce Harrell was holding press conferences against Trump. And I don't think that got him any support.
It didn't. But
or Ann Davidson.
But keep in mind, he started doing that very late in the election cycle, sort of flooding the zone, having press conference after press conference after press conference after he was trounced in the primary. And
he was doing it a year ago. He was doing
not
it
to
long
this
before
extent.
that.
Not to this extent.
Everybody dials it up.
Yeah, but I mean, he dialed it up to such an extreme because he ostensibly, and I say this as an analysis, not that I know what's going on in the campaign specifically, but that the numbers were not in his favor. And it was, at the very least, going to be a very close race. So what do? You get your name out there as much as you possibly can. That was the strategy in the waning months. He also had a lot more money, particularly coming in on the political action committee side, the quote-unquote unaffiliated groups that are in favor of a candidate or against a candidate. A lot of the business community were a bit spooked by Katie Wilson as coming in first in the primary, so they dumped a lot of money into Bruce Harrell's campaign, or I should say the Political Action Committee supporting him, that ad that ran during the American League Championship Series. You could see Harrell ran a bad campaign, but that's looking at it solely from the result. You can run a great campaign and still lose.
Oh, I know.
And
I don't think anybody would say Bruce Harrell ran a great campaign.
No, but I would say it's probably not as bad as you think it is.
I'll give you the last word on that one for today because I think you and I would be doing this forever, and we got to go to a commercial break.
All right.
Jeff Pogula from our sister station, Northwest News Radio, what's coming up on the Politicast this weekend?
Well, obviously, we're going to be talking about the race for Seattle mayor, as well as the end of the federal government shutdown and how politics is now leading to depression among Americans.
Doesn't surprise me. Jeff, appreciate you being here. I got a whole lot more to
Anytime.
discuss. You're listening to the Ari Hoffman Show on Talk Radio 570 KVI. So the shutdown's officially over, but that doesn't mean the effects of it are over. You heard at the top of the hour from KVI News about how the stock market was down today from record highs. A lot of people would think, well, the stock market's going to be up because we don't have the shutdown anymore. So if it was a record highs yesterday, it should be booming even more today. No. And the reason it's not booming is because of this report. I'm going to use the Fox News one, but it's not Fox News' fault. This is the effects on the economy of Chuck Schumer's shutdown.
Take a look at what the first round of that Democratic fight looked like. Nearly 42 million Americans lost their SNAP food assistance benefits. They were suffering. More than 5.2 million airline passengers faced flight delays and cancellations. 1.4 million federal workers went weeks without pay. And the White House estimates the economy lost about $15 billion every week of those 6 weeks. A massive hit of $90 billion over the entire shutdown. When you count everything all up, you can count them, 10 zeros. House Republican Conference Chair Lisa McClain comes up in focus.
So that was Harris Faulkner from Fox News. And the problem is they see all that money's not in the economy. If you're trying to have an economic resurgence, that's not going to help things. Because when people aren't getting paid, they're spending less money. And if they're spending less money, it's not going into the economy. It's not going into taxes. It's not going into government coffers. It's not going where it should go. And as a result, that's how much money we've lost over the last month because Chuck Schumer went all in on a bad hand where he didn't have the cards. He didn't have the cards. Now, the problem is some of these Democrats, and Republicans for that matter, are so stupid they want to double down on this next time. They want more economic disaster. AOC says that any Democrat who voted for this thing, even though they're the ones with a little bit of common sense, who said, guys, we're not going to get what we want right now. So you know what? Hold on for the next fight. Right now, we're just punishing the American people, which they've admitted to multiple times that they were using the American people for leverage. AOC says any Democrat that did the right thing by ending the shutdown, she's going to primary.
Schumer stay as minority leader?
I think what is so important for folks to understand is that this problem is bigger than one person, and it actually is bigger than the minority leader in the Senate. You had 8 Senate Democrats who coordinated their own votes on this, as well as you have 2 retiring members. Many of them are also up in several cycles from now, with the hope that people are going to forget this moment. And I think what's important is that we understand that this is not just a leader is reflected as a reflection of the party. And Senate Democrats have selected their leadership to represent them. And so the question needs to be bigger than just one person. We have several Senate primaries this cycle. I know I'm being asked about New York. That is years from now. I have to remind my own constituents because they think that this election is this year. We actually do have Senate elections this year. And my hope is that people across this country actually participate in their primary elections in selecting their leadership.
So she's talking about going after the 8 senators who are Democrats who voted for this thing because they're in purple districts. They don't have enough problems already. That's what she's talking about doing. She's talking about primarying them with somebody more to the left. I told you this was the Mamdani effect. This is the actual Mamdani effect. They think that the American people want a Mamdani in every single city, in every single state, in every single county, in every single district. And that's what they're going to try and run against moderate Democrats. And soon you're not going to have moderate Democrats anymore. They'll probably knock a few of them out in the primaries. They may not even get to the general election. Somebody like Marie Gluesenkamp-Perez, who's in a purple district here in Washington, one that actually leans more red, she's rated one of the most vulnerable members of the House of Representatives. And she's not running against Joe Kent this time. I guarantee you they try to primary her because she's one of the ones who voted to reopen the government. We go to the Warrior Injury Law studio line, take a call from Leonard in Shoreline. Leonard, what's up?
Hey, nothing much. You know, now that Katie Wilson is the communist mayor of Seattle, you want to make a bet that once she starts running these government-run grocery stores, in about another year, you're right, they're going to be out of business and people will just flee Seattle to other states.
Well, funny you should mention that, because I think some businesses are already fleeing the area. Coming up at 4 o'clock, we're going to talk about how Boeing might actually be leaving Seattle, leaving Washington without anybody noticing. Leonard, appreciate the call. Appreciate you being part of the show. You want to be part of the show, you give us a call or a text at 206-421-5757. That's 206-421-5757. A little bit of good news when we come back, my friends. A little pushing against the woke insanity here in our very own Federal Way with their new flag policy. We'll tell you what it's all about when we come back. You're listening to The Ari Hoffman Show on Talk Radio 570 KBI. Well, as much as Seattle seems to be losing its mind and going deeper, deeper, deeper down the rabbit hole of crazy, Federal Way seems to be actually regaining their senses. According to Como News, a new policy that changes which flags can be flown on city property in Federal Way is facing backlash. In October 21st meeting, the City Council approved amendments to the city's flag policy that only allow for the American flag, the Washington State flag, the City of Federal Way flag outside of City Hall. The POW-MIA flag will still be flown in accordance with state law. By the way, I agree with this. I completely agree with this. State, federal flags. That's it. Then you don't get into the fight over anything else. Somebody the other day thought they were trolling me. You know that school, that Seattle public school, I forget which one it was, the Seattle public school we did a story on a few weeks ago, where they weren't even flying the American flag, they were just flying the pride flag over the Washington state flag? Well, from all the backlash, they took it down and they put up the American flag and then the Washington state flag underneath it. Apparently, a few days ago, they bought a brand new pride flag and put that up under the Washington state flag. And somebody sent me a picture with all these people waving rainbow flags and under that flag and going, ha-ha, like we got it back up. I mean, my response is, yeah, but your kids still don't know how to read. Your kids are still at the bottom of test scores. But you got your flag up. Woohoo! Good job, everybody. Well done. I actually had some people come to my house the other day. This is the time of the year I take down my flags, and I usually refresh them for the next year because they get pretty beat up in the winter, especially on my house. And stupid me, man, homeowner mistake. I hang up all these Christmas lights for Hanukkah. I put up all these blue and white lights. I make it look all pretty and festive. And we're the holiday of lights. Of course I do that. So what happens was I left the hooks out there from last season, and they hooked my flags, and they started shredding them more and more. So I need all new flags this year. Somebody pulled up to my house. They were giving somebody directions, and they said it's the one with all the flags, and the flags were out there the other day. That's on me. Anyway, in October 21st meeting, in the city council's meeting on November 5th, several community members, local group leaders, business owners, etc., spoke out against the new policy's directive not to fly any non-governmental flags, and people raised concerns about the lack of representation for marginalized groups in federal way. Quote, what you did was say, oh, we're not going to celebrate anyone here except the people who only identify with the one thing. You prioritized yourself instead of this community. You ever see me asking for the Israeli flag to be flown anywhere? Ever? You ever see me ask for like a little Maccabee to be flown from a flag anywhere? No, because that isn't who I am. If I want to express myself, I walk around expressing myself on my head from the stuff that I wear. Does not flying a pride flag on Federal Way City Hall, which you never go to, by the way, let's be honest, does that somehow detract from your identity? Give me a break. The push for the change came as Councilmember Paul McDaniel. He told other council members he felt the different flags previously flown outside of City Hall and other city properties were divisive and added a deeper issue of polarization in the U.S. He said, I believe that the only way to really unify us is to take us away from the divisive talk, the divisive actions, and the divisive things. You want an example of this? You know what I hate, Kevin? At baseball games. I hate baseball teams that have all the other teams' flags flying. And I know they do that here with the Mariners, and they do it with a few other teams too. Why are you doing that? What, we don't know who's in the league? We got the massive scoreboard out there to know who's beating who. I don't like that. Put a bunch of American flags out there. I don't like having the other team's things. You're probably indifferent.
I don't. Yeah, I'm indifferent.
You don't care.
I guess they're just being nice. You know what I mean? Like, we want to acknowledge and tip our hat to the other teams.
But why? We're there to beat the other guys. You're there to take down the other guys.
I'm not saying I understand it. I mean,
I think the visiting team in the locker room, there should be one shower, no chairs. You should make them as uncomfortable as possible so you have every advantage. What's the point of having a home team advantage if you don't have any home team? I'm just kidding. Okay, I understand.
I guess I could, back in the day when there wasn't much going on in ballparks, but now there's so many screens and advertisements and all this stuff. Why do you need those flags flying?
Yes. So see, I can be equal opportunity offensive. I don't know why we need to do that. Plus, here's something else, guys. We're all under the American flag. And if you want to say we are one country, then you know what? Stop dividing everybody by class, by religion, by race, by culture. So they're all mad about this. Apparently, also, Federal Way's Diversity Commission is mad about this. They addressed the council members and said recognition of traditionally marginalized communities is extremely powerful, and removing that recognition may erode public trust. Okay, where do you draw the line? You want the LGBTQ one? Then I say I want the Israeli one. And then somebody else says, I want the Hamas one. And then somebody else says, I want the Hezbollah one. And at what point do you say, this is bonkers crazy? How about this? Okay, you want to have whatever flag you want every year. On Donald Trump's Election Day victories and on his birthday, we fly a MAGA flag over your city hall. How do you think that would go down? Can we have enough of capture the flag? Can we just have, there's the American flag, there's the Washington state flag, and other federal flags that we need. That's it. Be done with this. But no, everything's got to be a fight, and everybody's got to represent, and everybody's got to do their crazy insanity. Enough is enough. Good on Federal Way. Question is, how long do you think it is until they have to retract all of that and backpedal on it? You can text us with your estimate without going over, 206-421-5757. When we come back, is Boeing getting ready to leave Washington? There are some indicators. I'll share them with you when we come back. You're listening to the Ari Hoffman Show on Talk Radio 570 KVI. Welcome to the Ari Hoffman Show on Talk Radio 570 KVI, your home for the politically homeless, streaming live at KVI.com and the KVI app. If you want to be part of the most dangerous show on the airwaves, call or text the Warrior Injury Law Studio line at 206-421-5757. That's 206-421-5757. Coming up this hour, State Department finally designates Antifa as a terrorist organization. Or did they? But before we get to any of that, oh man, I hit a nerve with this flag legislation, as Mike would say. So, KVI Nation, it looks like all of you decide to text me and tell me there is a purpose for the flags out at T-Mobile Park.
I can't wait to hear this.
It's for real. Apparently, the reason they have the teams, it's of the standings in the division. Those are the ones in the outfield. And it's from left to right, from first place to last place in the division.
Okay.
Now, one little thing. I still am holding strong to that because, Kevin, you go to a lot of baseball games. I go to a lot of baseball games. Did either one of us know this?
I don't go to a lot of, I wouldn't say a lot
but
of them.
But you like the baseball.
Yeah.
You've been to a lot of Mariners games.
Yeah, I guess I don't know all the ins and outs when it comes to things like that.
I didn't know that, but here's something else. You know what's right under all those flags? The scoreboard, which has a bunch of this stuff.
Again, it's one of those sports that has all these old traditions and all these crusty things.
Yes.
The poor sad sack that has to go up and pull the flag down and move it over to the next position, back and forth, back and forth.
Yes.
When they could just do it on a screen.
On the screen, exactly right. But at least now we know they have a purpose out there in the outfield.
Look, the stupid sports that I watch, like boxing, the stuff that I get to hear knuckleheads say on a daily basis about that crusty sport, that I just have to roll my eyes and go like, okay.
The few times, and I can count them on one hand, where my wife has been watching the baseball with me or at the baseball with me, it's funny where she goes, when she's listening to the announcers, and she says, do they just have a statistic for everything? And I said, yes, sweetie, the game has been around forever, and they got to fill 3 hours.
Yep.
I know what it's like to fill 3 hours of content nowadays. You're going to do a little legislation on some things that may not be that big of a deal.
Just like this.
Just like this. No, we got plenty to talk about. Actually, good text here from Bruce. Bruce always has these great texts. Ari, when was the last time you looked at the seniority list for the United States Senate? If Schumer gets ousted, and with Durbin retiring, I don't see how the Democrats can keep Patty Murray from ascending to leadership for their party. The next closest Democrat is Jack Reed of Rhode Island. But as they all believe in DEI and wokeism, how could they bypass the mom in tennis shoes? You know what? You're not wrong. You know who's the other one with seniority right behind Patty Murray? Maria Cantwell. Holy cow. You know, I want Schumer gone too, but do we want Patty Murray up there rotting in the Senate for the rest of her life with those tennis shoes in worse shape than that hamburger that's 30 years old? Holy cow! It could actually be Patty Murray. Bruce, that's horrifying. That's chilling. That's really bad. Or is it just going to be, hey, we're just going to bypass and elect some random person? It doesn't have to be seniority necessarily. Look what happened with Speaker of the House, for example, with Mike Johnson. They don't have to do seniority. But I don't think you're wrong. How do you get past that? Let's not forget, under Biden, wasn't she Senate pro tem? Which, in the presidential line of succession, it goes president, vice president, Speaker of the House, Senate pro tem. It doesn't go majority leader. Holy cow. Patty Murray could be the Senate majority leader.
Yeah, back to more important things. That hamburger?
Yes.
I didn't think it looked that bad.
It didn't look that bad. Mike and I discussed the hamburger yesterday, and I love how McDonald's comes out. Oh, wait, let me catch up the audience.
I mean, that's the whole point of it, right? The people that, look at how well it preserved.
Well, that's the thing. So, okay, for those of you who missed the good news segment yesterday, and there was a lot of discussion on the text line about this when the show was over. I'm sorry I didn't answer all your texts. So, apparently there's a hamburger that's celebrating its 30th anniversary, and I said, well, is it like the Whopper is celebrating its 30th anniversary, like since we came out with the Whopper or the Big Mac or whatever it was? No, it's an actual hamburger, which somebody has held on to for 30 years. You sent me this story, Kevin. Yeah. And the thing, it doesn't look that bad.
Yeah, it just looks dry, but it looks, you look at it and you go like, you know what? That just looks like a hamburger that someone left out for a little bit.
It doesn't even look that dry. I will tell you what I think it looked like to me. You know when the hamburger gets soggy in the wrapper? That's what it looked like to me, and probably when you touch it, it's going to be crusty and whatnot. But the fact that it didn't grow mold, and the fact that it didn't rot, and the fact that it doesn't smell bad. How many preservatives were in a Big Mac back when they first came out with these suckers?
Yeah.
That's the horrifying part.
It's not even when they first came out with this. This is just like what? Like 30 years ago, it'd be like the 90s or something?
Right. Oh, my God, don't tell me that. You know, Marty McFly would be going back to 1995 if Back to the Future was made today.
So, right. So this has
It's been out for longer than that. The hamburger itself was that old, which is horrifying. Absolutely horrifying.
Right.
Yeah.
But my point being is like someone just decided or just so happened to be like, hey, no one ate this hamburger. And they were like, well, I wonder how long if we could, just.
That's kind of what happened.
That's
and then
what
just became a joke, and they started moving it around. I mean, I got junk in my house like that. Hey, I wonder if I move this thing somewhere else. That's why the episode of Everybody Loves Raymond, every husband and wife has this, or maybe I'm special like this, but I assume I'm not, where they have that suitcase that he won't move, that she keeps asking him to move, and then finally he puts like a dead fish in the suitcase so it'll smell so bad that she'll move the thing. I mean, people have this stuff in their house. Everybody Loves Raymond, one of those shows that did not become funny until I got married and had kids. And then it's the funniest show I've ever seen. Oh, more flag legislation here, Kevin. So they say with regards to the standings of the ones at T-Mobile Park, how would anyone know the Mariners flag is always in last place? Okay, you know what? You can't make that joke this year. Even I'm not making that joke this year because it was a pretty good year. And as Mike and I discussed,
it doesn't get much better. You almost made it. Well, I guess
for the Mariners,
there's
two more
doesn't
get much better.
Making it to the World Series proper,
yes,
and then of course winning it. So the third best thing, I guess, is
now you missed this legislation yesterday. So because when I was at the White House last time, it was when the Eagles were coming for their whole thing at the White House, which was great. One of the radio hosts specifically asked to be there that day, the same day I was there, and he brought his kid with him so he could meet the Eagles and meet Trump and go to the whole thing with the Eagles with Trump. So I said the Mets or the Mariners have 3 years to win this sucker. Because who knows who's going to be the president next? I may not have the access I have right now.
Well, he's running again. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. Don't you know?
I have a Trump in 2028 hat that I got just to tick people off. It's black. I like the black MAGA hats. I don't like the red ones, but I bought one of those just in case, so I am prepared in case that actually happens. I'm on Team Vance Rubio. That's my new thing to go here. Anyway, switching gears back to what's happening here in Washington State. Jay Inslee's legacy just takes another hit. So the one hybrid electric ferry that Jay Inslee had built before Bob Ferguson said, yeah, we're not buying these dumb things anymore because they don't work right. And, we do have the diesel electric suckers. We'll just order some of those. But, oh, wait, nobody can build them here in Washington. And they're much, much cheaper down in Florida. Oh, wait, they can build them here in Washington. They're just too expensive. Let's go buy everything in Florida. You remember when Bob Ferguson did that? Well, the Wenatchee, the state's first hybrid electric ferry, was taken out of service again for the third time since the vessel made its debut in July. You know what I love? I'm thinking of that picture of Bob Ferguson and Jay Inslee when they're standing on the deck as the thing is sailing away with Seattle in the background. We had some fun with AI where we put the whole city on fire behind them. That was a lot of fun. But they were celebrating this stupid thing, and it still don't work right. Washington State Ferry spokesperson said one of the main engines shut down twice due to a fault in the overspeed protection circuit. Engineers were able to resolve the issue the same evening, and the boat returned to service for the first sailing to Bainbridge Island at 4:45 a.m. on Monday. My question is, how many other things go wrong with this sucker? The Wenatchee is nearly 30 years old, and all they did was retrofit this guy. So that is pure virtue signaling. Because how did we get in this mess with the ferries? By just saying, we'll keep fixing them and keep fixing them. This is just a glorified fix, is all it is. Just weeks after hitting the water, the vessel was taken out of service for the first time in mid-August for a drive motor issue. Wait a second. Why does it have a drive motor? It's electric. That's not how these suckers work. That's not how the cars work. A Washington State Ferry spokesperson said this is not unexpected for new or recently upgraded vessels. The final stage of introducing a new ship to the fleet is called commissioning, which involves addressing issues that don't arise until the ship enters service. Kevin, I'm starting to remember back on the summer. That ship was sitting out there a lot. It was on its test trials. We saw it outside that window, and we go, oh, there goes the Wenatchee again. Oh, it's just sitting there. Why is it just sitting there? I wonder if it was having the problems even during the test trials, the sea trials, where it was just sitting there and sitting there. Jeff and I were always looking at that boat out there, wondering if it was working or not that day.
I was going to say, I'll take your word for it because I've been moved, and I just stare at a wall now.
You don't get to see the fun, which is over there. Yes,
beautiful view and failing ferries. Yes. I don't get to see that anymore. Just a wall. Is what I look at.
I'll tell you what, Kevin. Would you like me to take a picture and
Sure.
have it blown up?
Yeah.
And we could put that right on
Absolutely.
your wall right
Yeah.
there. You want me to do this?
Sure.
When's your birthday?
It's coming up next
Your
month.
birthday's
Next
coming
month.
up. Your
Yeah.
birthday is coming up. We will get
Beautiful.
you. We will get you.
Just make it like a shade. I can just pull it down when I'm like miserable. And just like,
that's
pull
what
it-
we'll do.
It's like when you're, places that do the fake IDs in movies where they have like a different color for each ID.
Yes,
in
exactly.
shades.
Just pull it down right
Yep.
behind you.
Yeah.
That'll be stellar. That'll be fantastic. We'll do that. Okay, good. Kevin wants a picture of Elliott Bay for the whole thing. That'll be great. That'll work out. Now, meanwhile, what's not working out is Boeing. So we had this report just the other day about Boeing, and this isn't looking good for Boeing because what's going on? I wonder if they're actually working on leaving through attrition because they're announcing that yet another plane is going to be built somewhere else. They are expanding operations elsewhere, and they're not having them here anymore. This is my concern, is that they were going to leave through attrition. I want you to listen to this report from ABC about Boeing.
Big news for South Carolina's Low Country tonight as Boeing officially starts a major expansion. The aircraft manufacturer also hanging out the Help Wanted sign for job seekers as they mark the expansion. Our Emily Deanne shows us what it could mean for the economy here in the Low Country.
Boeing officials say the North Charleston expansion will help keep the 787 flying high and the Low Country economy soaring. The company broke ground Friday on a massive 787 Dreamliner expansion, adding over 1 million square feet and over 1,000 new jobs in the next 5 years.
We're seeing incredible demand for the 787 from customers around the world, and we need to expand our production capability and footprint in order to meet that demand, and that's what we're celebrating here today.
Boeing says the extra space will help ramp up production to 10 Dreamliners a month by 2026. State leaders say this investment will solidify South Carolina's place as one of the top aerospace manufacturing hubs in the country.
We can't thank Boeing enough for their belief and their faith in the South Carolina worker. Infrastructure is really important to the Low Country, not only the growth that we've had by population, but the growth and investment by businesses here.
Boeing has called North Charleston home since 2009. The site now employs over 8,000 people who build, assemble, and deliver all 3 Dreamliner models, the 787-8, the 787-9, and the 787-10, to airlines around the world.
When I was a little kid growing up, you never would have imagined that you'd have a Boeing facility like this here in South Carolina.
The Dreamliner is already the best-selling wide-body passenger jet ever made, with more than 2,250 orders and nearly 1,000 still on backlog. Secretary Besant praising Boeing for investing in his home state.
I think South Carolina and this Boeing plant is the model for President Trump's economic agenda in terms of reindustrializing America. We had gotten out of the business of building things, manufacturing, and we are bringing that back home.
Boeing's new facility is expected to open in stages in 2026. Reporting in North Charleston, I'm Emily Deanne.
So wait a second. Wouldn't it have been nice if all that was here in Washington? But unfortunately, it's in South Carolina. Boeing has shown it will move. Didn't they just move their corporate offices out of Chicago over to Virginia as well? Probably tired of dealing with the insanity in Illinois and Chicago as well. Companies will move. They will do it when it is convenient for them. Somebody from Boeing can fact check me on this. After they're done with the tanker project, doesn't that mean they're only building the 737 here now? That's the only one. I think that's the only one left after this. So how long do you figure it is until they pull up everything and leave? Boeing's workforce has dropped from over 100,000 here to around 54,000 by 2003. How much lower is it now? In May of 2022, Boeing shifted its headquarters to Arlington, Virginia. That affected 2,000 jobs, though most of them were relocated. But now you've got less airplanes being built here. Thanks, Bob Ferguson, for signing the largest tax in Washington state history, which affects corporations. So, yeah, you're going to have this problem where they're moving out of here through attrition, the same way that Amazon left Seattle for Bellevue, and likely what Amazon's going to do to Washington state overall because of Bob Ferguson and the Democrats' new taxes. Companies are not just going to stay here and be taxed, and people will leave too. Jeff Bezos took his money and run. He got out of here with the quickness. So I got to say, guys, at this point, what they are doing has serious impacts because the people that work at Boeing, now they don't need to be here anymore. People will lose jobs here. People will get hired elsewhere. Or if they move for the job, that means they're not shopping at their local grocery store. That's it. This text over from the 253. Hey, Ari, I worked on the Pierce County Ferry for 8 years. As long as you did regularly scheduled maintenance on the diesel engines, there were very few problems. This one from John, the Wenatchee is still likely diesel electric, but with electric motors that kick in place of the diesel engines when those aren't needed, that would explain the drive motor failure. Thank you for that. That's some interesting stuff here. Diesel electric ferry boats, says the 206. What a concept. The same proven technology German U-boats used in World War I and World War II? Yes, exactly. This one here, Robin Lakewood says we should change the name of the ferry Wenatchee to Governor Inslee. Why? Because it doesn't work? At that stage, we should just name it the Harrell. Because that one's not working at all either. That one's long gone. We go to the Warrior Injury Law Studio line, take a call from George and Kenmore. George, what's going on?
Hey, I flew the product and worked at Boeing for many years, and the 777's made here. Remember that one?
They are still made here. They are still made here. I'm asking you, are they?
Composite.
Okay.
It's an aluminum airplane.
Gotcha.
The composites all went to Charleston.
So they're assembled here, is what you're saying?
What? No, they used to fly. You know, they had a big Miss Piggy 747 that flew. Atlas flew it here. And they put sections together from all around the world.
Yes.
Now they put them together in South Carolina.
That's what. Okay, so they're put together over there. That's what I thought. Yeah, exactly right. Appreciate the call, George. Appreciate you being part of the show. You want to be part of the show? Give us a call or a text at 206-421-5757. That's 206-421-5757. We go back to the Warrior Injury Law Studio line. Take a call from our friend Transit Joe. Transit Joe, what's up, man?
What's up is not just is Boeing building the 737s. They're also building the KC-45 Pegasus tanker at Payne Field. They're also building the 777X, several models of that. And they're also working on some space projects here, satellites, that kind of thing.
Yeah, but I remember they used to do the drone stuff around here. They're not doing the drone stuff. I used to see the Predators flying around near Boeing Field. It was kind of fun to actually see those guys being tested and flying by. A little scary at the same time. It was right around the time Mission Impossible 3 came out, and I think that was one of the first times you saw those suckers in a movie, and I'm like, oh, they're after me.
Well, it might, Boeing doesn't build the Predator drone. General Atomics in California and Nevada does. But, there's still a lot of production going on. That said, it's sad that, because the WTO said you could not have tax incentives for aircraft manufacturing lines, that our state's tax incentives had to end. And Boeing basically said, we're going to build up the 787 lines in South Carolina.
Yep, that's exactly what's happening. And you see now they're getting more jobs down there. Joe, always appreciate your expertise. Appreciate you being part of the show. You want to be part of the show, give us a call or a text at 206-421-5757. That's 206-421-5757. We go back to the Warrior Injury Law Studio line. Take a call from Ted in Gig Harbor. Ted, what's up, man?
Hi. Yeah, I'm a 42-year Boeing guy, too. And the 77 is, in fact, built here. The new one, the Dash 9, will have an aluminum body. Composite wings. The wings could be made anywhere, KHI in Japan, MHI, one of those contracts. We could build them in Frederickson. Boeing has a huge composites factory in Frederickson down by Auburn. What's going to really hurt? It's going to hurt the University of Washington, Washington State, all these schools that pump out engineers. A lot of those guys came to work at Boeing. The community colleges that pump out mechanics, with their A&P licenses. That'll all go away. That'll go to
That's a great point.
Southeastern Conference.
That's a great point. I think George was trying to make that point about the composites who called earlier. But here's something else. If Boeing invests all this money in University of Washington just for a bunch of Antifa and Hamasniks to show up and cause over $1 million to the new equipment they just bought them, on top of not having the manufacturing here, what's the incentive to keep the place anymore? They might as well just go somewhere else and fund other schools in other states. Ted, appreciate the insight. Right. Appreciate you being part of the show. You want to be part of the show, you give us a call or a text at 206-421-5757. That's 206-421-5757. When we come back, my friends, lots more to discuss, including how Gavin Newsom is now revoking a whole bunch of those illegal commercial driver's licenses. Will Bob Ferguson be doing the same thing? We'll give you all the details when we come back. You're listening to The Ari Hoffman Show on Talk Radio 570 KVI. So California is revoking 17,000 commercial driver's licenses. And Gavin Newsom is saying it's not because of illegal immigrants. It's not because of... Really? Have you ever done this before? Let me catch everybody up on what happened because it affects us here in Washington also. Let's go back to August. This all started in August. What happens? An illegal alien truck driver makes a U-turn on a Florida highway. Over there, they're not called freeways. They're called highways because the tolls are highway robbery on the East Coast. So over there on the highway, he makes an illegal U-turn where he wasn't supposed to be making it in the middle of a highway, and an SUV plows right into it. 3 people are killed instantly. When the guy comes down from the truck, they realize he can't speak English. They realize he can't read English. And they realize he can't read the road signs, including the giant one next to the truck that said no U-turns. Except for me, it's kind of a universal symbol. If you see the thing, you can kind of figure out what that means, right? But even so. So what happens? You're supposed to have to know English to pass these tests. Immediately, there's an investigation. And then I was sitting at the conference run by our friends over at Future 42 in Renton when news came down from Sean Duffy at the Department of Transportation that this guy got his commercial driver's license from Washington State. That's right, Washington State issued him his license. Now, there's different levels of CDL licenses. He leveraged his Washington State license to get one out of California. I remember Travis Couture was right there, and I go, dude, come over here, because we're buddies, so I don't say Representative Couture. I say, dude, come over here. You want to sit down and talk about this? And I told him what happened, and he just let loose. He just unleashed. That interview is probably you can get over at the KVI app or over at KVI.com. And then I see Representative Jim Walsh walking around. I'm like, Jim, come on over here. You got to sit down. You got to see this. And he unleashed on that too. Then what we found out was that there were schools who were issuing these fraudulent licenses to these illegal aliens. Are they technically fraudulent? Yes, I'll tell you why. Because the government of the United States trusts each state to issue the CDLs because that's a lot of work for the federal government to do, so they trust them to do it on the local level, just like we do with the DMV. For example, you don't get a driver's license from Washington, D.C., you get it from whatever place you get it here, assuming there's no more lines for that enhanced driver's license. So they do the same thing with the CDLs. But then the Department of Transportation says, you guys are issuing all these things. You got to stop that. What happens in the meantime? There's another accident, and another accident, and another accident. And every single time it's an illegal alien who never should have had a CDL. This guy failed his driver's test multiple times, failed his English test multiple times, failed his air brake checks multiple times, and yet still had a license, didn't have it taken away, and now 3 people are dead. But then there's incident after incident after incident. So Department of Transportation, the Trump administration, says if you guys don't clean up your act, we're revoking your funding. And you can't really defend this, can you now? Because they can't read the street signs. You know, all airplane pilots, no matter what country they're from, have to know English because it's the universal language for pilots. You can't fly a plane if you don't know English. Same kind of thing here in the United States. How do you expect to read road signs? Here, you want a perfect one for you? Okay. Stop signs, those are kind of universal. They look the same in other countries too. But here's one for you. When they put up the construction signs that are flashing the messages, and then those things change, right? And then you don't know what they're saying. You don't know what's warning you about. According to the New York Post, California will revoke 17,000 commercial driver's licenses issued to immigrants. Immigrants? All immigrants? Or I assume just the illegal ones? After a shocking audit revealed that the expiration dates went past when the drivers were legally allowed to be in the U.S. The announcement came after President Trump's Department of Transportation turned up the heat on the sanctuary state after 3 people died in August when an illegal alien allegedly jackknifed his 18-wheeler during a rogue U-turn, causing a van to smash into the side of a semi. I love the New York terms. Jackknife tractor trailer. I haven't heard that since traffic reports on the East Coast. You never hear that around here anymore. They say a truck has overturned in the middle of the freeway. They don't use terms like jackknife. Here's one for you. Kevin, you know what rubbernecking is? Do you know what rubbernecking is? Have you ever heard that term before?
Yeah, that's when you driving by and you're paying attention to something that's on the side of the road, right?
You screwed up my whole thing here. I was expecting you not to know that. I'm thinking, oh, look how cool I am. I know a term. No, but
yeah,
you know
and
that
jackknife
one.
too.
Yeah,
I've heard that. Yeah,
really? I don't hear it as much
sure,
out here. Maybe now I'll start hearing it all the time and noticing that kind of stuff.
But jackknife doesn't mean overturned, right? Jackknife means it's like
bent,
cattywampus, bent in the stretching over through several lanes, blocking.
Exactly.
Things. Yeah.
That's a jackknife tractor trailer. The fatal crash happened in Florida, but the driver, Hajinder Singh, had been granted CDLs in California and Washington state. Singh, who was in immigration proceedings after crossing the border in 2018, then badly flunked English fluency and road sign tests following the smash-up, said the Department of Transportation. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy touted California taking action to revoke the licenses as an admission that the state had acted improperly despite previously defending its licensing standards. Here's the thing. Those are 17,000 that we know about. How many more are out there? Washington State hasn't done anything like this. And we know that the Skyline Driver School has been accused of issuing hundreds of these things, and they have offices in Washington, Oregon, and Northern California. What other schools are doing the exact same thing? Gavin Newsom claiming, oh, no, we're just doing that because that's the proper thing to do. Right. Why didn't you do it till now? Because they threaten your funding. Gavin Newsom wants to run for president, and his stupidity is responsible for at least 3 deaths that we know about. Unbelievable. When we come back, are they going to designate California a terrorist agency? Well, at least they did it with Antifa. Tell you all about what the Trump administration did when we come back. You're listening to the Ari Hoffman Show on Talk Radio 570 KVI. Welcome back to the Ari Hoffman Show. Just a reminder to everybody to download the KVI app. That way you can take us with you anywhere you go, even out of state and out of country. Also, make sure you subscribe on whatever your preferred podcast platform is so you never miss a minute of the show. While you're there, remember to share and, of course, rate so that way you and your friends can enjoy the show. You should tell them about it. This one here, we got a lot of text on the Boeing thing. Kevin was telling me I should know better than to say something about Boeing because the Boeing people are always going to correct me. This one here, the Boeing air tunnel is at UW. Yeah, I'm not sure how much longer that's going to stay there if the Hamasniks keep attacking their gear. This one here, the 737 fuselage is made in Wichita. It comes to Renton on a train. That's the one that goes past our friends over at Renton Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. Every time I'm there, I see the fuselages going by on the train. That's great. Yeah, good stuff. Oh, Kevin, you got a request here. They want some Iron Maiden. They say since Mike's not here, can they put some Iron Maiden on the show?
I'll see what I can do.
Exactly.
I do like some Iron Maiden, though.
We all like some Iron Maiden. Robin Lakewood says, with the illegal CDLs, can families sue California/Washington over deaths? I think you actually can. Let me tell you why. You have a public duty doctrine. A public duty doctrine is what we have here in Washington, where you can't sue elected officials over the dumb things that they do. However, I think the way around this is if they do things that are illegal. You can't have a sanctuary state, sanctuary city, sanctuary law. It's in violation of federal law. So I think you actually have a very, very, very good case to make here against Washington, and I think they should sue immediately. Meanwhile, you saw some other people are already the focus of a Justice Department investigation. One of the far-left groups involved in the violent protests outside Turning Point USA event at UC Berkeley on Monday was Students Organizing for Liberation, unregistered student group allied with Jewish Voices for Peace and socialist organizations. Jewish Voices for Peace, they're not Jewish, they're not for peace, by the way. Also, they don't believe in using their voices, they believe in using other things. The group took responsibility for the demonstrations in an Instagram post writing, "Thank you for standing with people of color, immigrants, LGBTQIA+, the poor, Muslims, and all oppressed people in the faces of fascism. Together we successfully," see, I told you they weren't Jewish, didn't mention that at all. "Together we successfully delayed the action by nearly half an hour, forcing Turning Point USA to rush through the presentation. Because of the rush, we learned that UC Berkeley Chancellor Richard Lyons was in attendance and was called upon by failed parent Rob Schneider." Parent? You mean comedian? Student Organizing for Liberation describes itself as a grassroots democratic organization to resist imperialism, Zionist, and oppressive projects at UC Berkeley and the UC systems. Oh, these are the worst Jews ever. Turning Point USA event. Part of This is Turning Point Tour featured Dr. Frank Turek, and actor Rob Schneider, comedian Rob Schneider, and drew more than 300 attendees. Before the event, a brawl broke out near the campus, according to the Post-Millennial, leaving a man injured with a facial wound. Violent protesters wearing keffiyehs prompted police to deploy riot gear to disperse the crowd. Here's something else. How many of these people are actually from the campus itself? We learned this during the violent Gaza encampment out at University of Washington. A lot of those people are the same people we see at every single protest. So what's actually being done about Antifa and these far-left groups? Well, earlier today, the State Department designated multiple Antifa groups in Europe as foreign terrorist organizations. Okay, guys, I'm with you. I like this. This is fine. But you know you have a problem with Rose City Antifa right there in Portland. When are they going to be designated actual domestic terrorist organizations? You keep saying you're going to. It's taking a while. Look, you could have done this the last time Trump was in office. I love President Trump, but why are we taking so long on this stuff? According to the Post-Millennial, this will be the first time that Antifa groups will formally be designated as a foreign terrorist organization. The designation will be applied to multiple major Antifa cells in different European countries. The designation was made official on Thursday. Julio Rosas, friend of the show, was told by the State Department spokesperson the anarchists, Marxists, and violent extremists of Antifa have waged a terror campaign in the United States and across the Western world for decades, carrying out bombings, beatings, shootings, and riots in service of their extreme agenda. The State Department is committed to identifying and dismantling these terror networks that conspire to ruthlessly suppress the will of the people and violently undermine the very foundations of the United States and Western civilization. This is the kind of stuff that should be done locally, should be done in the U.S. as well. The designation comes after the Antifa-linked militants also targeted Turning Point USA at UC Berkeley. According to Fox News, the Trump administration will apply the foreign terrorist designation to 4 Antifa cells that are active in Europe, including in Germany, Italy, as well as Greece. Good. Those guys come in for soccer games. Let's lock them up while they're here. Let's do that. Then we won't have these problems anymore. These groups have been accused of carrying out bombings, shootings, and other politically motivated attacks. I think this was kind of a warning to local Antifa. Hey, guys, we can come after you too. Why do they get more warnings? Why don't you just designate them terrorists? Rose City Antifa. Emerald City Antifa. We know how these guys operate. We know who they are. We've been covering them literally for years. What is the holdup? Getting a little frustrated here at this point. Meanwhile, a new poll has revealed that a record number of Americans believe that free speech in the United States is heading in the wrong direction, with nearly 3/4 of Americans saying so. The Foundation for Individual Rights and Expressions, FIRE, quarterly National Speech Index asked Americans, when it comes to whether people are able to freely express their views, do you think things in America are heading in the right or wrong direction? To which 74% said it is heading in the wrong direction. That's a 10-point jump from July's survey. Only 26% said it's heading in the right direction, down from 37% in July. Republican respondents are the only political group of which the majority said that free speech was heading in the right direction at 55%. This is down from 69% in July. Among Democrats, 11% said it's heading in the right direction, down from 17%. 19% of independents responded as such, down from 31%. You know what this is? It's a reaction to Charlie Kirk's assassination, and it's a reaction to President Trump being in office. That's what we're talking about here. The left thinks that Trump is going after their freedom of speech, and the right thinks they're going to be killed for their freedom of speech, which is insane. That's where we're at here in the country. That's where we're at. The poll also asked whether a hypothetical college professor should be fired for comments such as, it's okay to punch a Nazi, with 45% of respondents saying they should or probably should be fired. These fascist Bible thumpers want to drag us back to the dark ages, with 37% they should or probably should be fired. And we are going to make America great again, with 14% saying they should be fired. Oh, dear, just for saying that. Holy cow. Lots more to discuss as the show continues, my friends. When we come back, the Olympics are banning men from women's sports. So how come Washington won't do it? Tell you all about it when we come back. You're listening to the Ari Hoffman Show on Talk Radio 570 KVI. I hear good things about that show. Reminder, download the KVI app. Subscribe to The Ari Hoffman Show on whatever your preferred podcast platform is. Also, a reminder, check out KVI.com. Tonight, I've been a little lax this week following all the election results, but I will get back in the rhythm. I got a bunch of articles that are going to be up only at KVI.com. So make sure you check it out. And while you're there, sign up to become a KVI insider. That way you get on our list for contests, for events, lots of good stuff. Speaking of good stuff, the International Olympic Committee is expected to ban biological males from competing in women's sports ahead of the 2028 Olympics that are going to take place in Los Angeles. President Donald Trump has said the U.S. will deny visas for trans-identified males seeking to compete in women's sports at the 2028 Games. Current rules leave decisions on whether trans-identified males can compete in the women's division up to each individual sport. However, the IOC under new president Christy Coventry is reportedly in discussions about changing this policy, according to the Daily Mail. Olympic sources told the outlet that the measure is the direction of travel and could be announced in the new year. However, it is unlikely it would be in place before the upcoming Winter Olympics, set to take place in Italy in February. Insiders estimate that it could take between 6 months and a year for the rule change to be approved and cleared. So President Trump will still be your president then. But something to think about, hockey. Yeah, you could die doing that. Here's something else. Just weight, right? Doesn't weight help you in the skeleton and the bobsledding and all that? So you got a dude on the women's team. I think you're going to be going a little bit faster. It's just a little hunch here. And as I say all the time, it's not about people who are competing in the Olympics, though we want women's sports to be protected. You have to think about it this way. The majority of girls in this country are not playing sports for a scholarship. They're not playing it because they think they're going to compete in the WNBA or the Olympics or anything else. They are doing it for credit or they are doing it for fun, like my daughter. And what happens is when they go and compete against a dude, do they want to be injured horrifically? Like that girl who still has head problems because of that concussion she got during the volleyball game where a ball came back at her at a gajillion miles an hour because some dude wanted to compete in girls volleyball. Look, guys, you want to hang out with girls all the time? Join the choir. That's what I did. Join the drama society. That's what I did. That's where the girls were, while their boyfriends were over on the basketball court or the football team or whatever else it was. Do that instead of just hanging out in their locker rooms being all creepy-like. In addition to that, you could seriously harm these girls for the rest of their lives. That girl still has traumatic brain injuries for what happened to her during that volleyball game. And we've seen case after case after case. This is why you have to protect women's sports. And that leads me to the event this Sunday, November 16th, from 1:30 to 3 at Gig Harbor High School. I'm going to be out there, and we're going to be helping people sign the initiatives. The IL26-001, that's the one to make sure that parents have rights and know what's going on with their kids at school. And the other one, which is protecting women's sports, girls' sports, keeping men out of girls' sports. Now, we already know that a whole bunch of leftist activists have tried to shut down this event. They tried to pressure Gig Harbor School District into shutting down this event. Excuse me, it's the Peninsula School District. They've tried to pressure them into shutting down this thing. In fact, the Tacoma News-Tribune tried to make a thing out of this. As we told you yesterday, they contacted me trying to get a statement on this whole thing, and I said, why don't you ask them why they let Democrat events and not Republican events? It's too bad they didn't print my statement. Here, according to the News-Tribune, the Peninsula School District has approved a rally at Gig Harbor High School proposed by the Political Action Committee Let's Go Washington after previously stating a prior approval was issued by mistake. Let's Go Washington organizers plan to host a supersigner rally with guest speaker Ari Hoffman in the Gig Harbor High School Gymnasium on Sunday, November 16th from 1:30 to 3 p.m., the group's website indicates. Hoffman hosts a talk radio show, The Ari Hoffman Show, on the conservative radio station Talk Radio 570 KVI. He's also an editor for conservative news outlet called The Post Millennial. That's where I thought they were going to put in my statement. When we reached Hoffman for comment, he said, why don't you ask them why they allow Democrat events and not Let's Go Washington events? But no, they blew right past my statement. Instead, they said Let's Go Washington is a political action committee founded by Brian Haywood in 2022 to advocate for several initiatives in the state legislature. Initiatives the group advocated for last year included a repeal of the state's capital gains tax and limiting restrictions on natural gas. Did you guys forget the one about police pursuits? Did you guys forget the ones about parental rights and why we have to go through this mess in the first place? Because the voters already approved these things, already signed off on these things, and we have to do it again because the legislature started messing with them to take away parental rights to know what's going on with their kids' education. So we're going to be out there from 1:30 to 3 on Sunday out at Gig Harbor High School. I hope to see you there. You can sign the initiatives there. It'll be a lot of fun. You get to sign both the initiatives. Some of you have asked about the voter ID pages, the voter ID initiative. I will check and see if they're going to be out there as well. The one for Washington State. We'll check that one out as well. Lots more to discuss as the show continues, my friends. More fallout from Katie Wilson's insane speech about all her giveaway items for all the socialists here in Seattle and taking your money to pay for it. You're listening to the Ari Hoffman Show on Talk Radio 570 KVI. Welcome to the Ari Hoffman Show on Talk Radio 570 KVI, your home for the politically homeless, streaming live at KVI.com and the KVI app. If you want to be part of the most dangerous show on the airwaves, call or text the Warrior Injury Law Studio line at 206-421-5757. That's 206-421-5757. Coming up this hour, a Santa Claus in a mall. Turns out he's a convicted killer, but they still want to let him have kids sit on his lap. I'll tell you about that insanity. But before we get to any of that, time to talk about Katie Wilson officially being mayor-elect of Seattle. That's right, my friends. Get used to it. As soon as she made her speech today, you know it's all about the socialism. It's all about the communism. Seizing the means of production. Talking about her opening her own grocery stores or forcing grocery stores not to close around here. I hope you guys enjoy this. This is going to be a lot of fun. Mike Kerb says over on the text line, will Wilson quit before she serves half her term? Governing is hard work. You know what I think, actually? I think I heard a report that she just asked her mom for her social security number so she can fill out her W-9s and W-4s and all the other forms she's going to need to actually be on payroll at Seattle City Hall. Yeah, that'd be my... You think her mom still helps her with that? Her mom still helps her with her homework. Isn't that sweet? I think she can have her college professor parents help her with the city budget. I think that'll work out great. Well, Katie Wilson is the darling of the moment. It was just on CNN a little while ago. Here's what she said.
For me, being a socialist is really, first of all, it's about a belief in good governance, right? I think it's really damaging when people lose faith in the ability of their government to successfully tackle big challenges, when they lose faith in their government's ability to deliver services for the people. And so I'm really excited to get to work.
Uh-huh. We got a suggestion from David here over on the Warrior Injury Line text line. So he says you should start addressing Mayor-elect Katie Wilson as Comrade Katie. Done. That's it. That's what we're going with now. Comrade Katie. I completely agree. That's from David from the Democratic People's Republic of Seattle. That's very good, David. Comrade Katie. That's what we're using from now on. Exactly right. She thinks government is the problem. I mean, is the solution. Can you tell me one place where government has been the solution and it worked effectively? Katie Wilson was giving out her entire wish list now that she's mayor of what she's going to be giving to all the peasants here in Seattle. Here is what all of you get.
There's an awful lot that I want to accomplish as mayor. I want everyone in this great city of ours to have a roof over their head. I want universal child care and free K-8 summer care. I want world-class mass transit. I want great, safe public spaces where kids can run around with abandon. I want stable, affordable housing for renters. I want social housing. I want much more land and wealth to be owned and stewarded by communities instead of corporations. I want a robust economy with thriving small businesses, great living wage jobs, and strong rights for workers. I want a city where everyone has the basics of a dignified life, including healthy food, access to health care, and supportive communities. I want a city where your health and your life expectancy and your children's future doesn't depend on your zip code or your race. I believe that I will be stepping into office with a strong mandate to pursue this vision. I believe it is notable that all of that money focused on attacking me, but not my vision or platform. And that is because this vision and platform are supported by an overwhelming majority of Seattle residents, as demonstrated by the resounding victories of the other progressive candidates running for office in Seattle this year.
Yours was not a resounding victory. You won by less than 2,000 votes, and because Bruce Harrell is too cowardly to challenge the results, even though there are some serious questions with those numbers, it was not a resounding victory. You know, while we're doing wish list items, you know what I want? I want the Dodge Challenger SRT Demon 170, 1,025 horsepower with a 6.2-liter V8 supercharged engine and a 3.0-liter supercharger. I want that sucker to put out 945 pounds of torque, 0 to 60 in 1.66 seconds. Can you get the taxpayers to pay for that? Can you get one of those for me? I mean, look, I'm sure my friends at Renton Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram will cut me a deal on the one they have there on the lot. But would you mind having the taxpayers pay for the difference? Can you do that for me? Because that's exactly what her plan is. That's exactly what her plan is. She even said so today.
And then Mayor-elect Wilson, I mean, you're inheriting quite the budget deficit. You have quite the proposal, quite the goals, the ambitions. We know that on the progressive side, we usually typically hear we're expecting taxes. What can we expect from you in your coming administration?
So I think, first of all, I'm very committed to making sure that we're using our existing resources as effectively and efficiently as possible. So we're going to be reviewing the ways that the city is spending money, and I think we're going to have to do that given the size of the budget deficit. And I am not averse to ending spending on programs that were maybe well-intentioned when they were first implemented but aren't fulfilling their goals. So we're going to be doing the very best to be the best stewards of public resources we can. I do think that we will need to pursue new progressive revenue in order to fund our priorities and make sure that we're delivering services to the people of Seattle. There's several progressive tax options I proposed as part of my platform, and so we're going to have city staff looking into developing those into legislation. Don't know yet exactly what the timeline is going to be on that.
Taxes, taxes, taxes. That's her plan to make Seattle, Washington, more affordable for everybody. Taxes, taxes. Yes, that's how you make things more affordable. You know what she's going to say? Tax the rich. And then that threshold for rich is going to get more and more open. And you know what? This is just their way to doing an income tax. Because they're going to say, oh, are you tired of all these regressive taxes? Well, why don't we just do one big income tax and we'll roll back those other taxes? And then they don't actually roll back those other taxes. This is what Comrade Katie Wilson has in store for all of us. In fact, she was so unpopular that you had 3,500 people who said, we don't want Bruce Harrell and we don't want Katie Wilson. I was actually shocked she got a tough question today like this.
There were at least 3,500 undervotes for mayor, meaning nobody voted for you or Mayor Harrell. What does that say about this campaign, and what do you say to those voters who left that spot blank?
I can only guess at the motivation of those voters, but I would imagine that they're people who were not thrilled with Mayor Harrell's leadership, but maybe also got the very loud message about my inexperience. And so maybe just didn't feel like they wanted to vote for either of us. So to them, I would say, well, you got to give me a chance now, and I hope I can prove to you that I'm up to the job. And I hope to be able to prove that to those voters.
How? No, really, how? You just gave me a socialist wish list. That's only going to make things worse here in Seattle. You just said you're going to tax us more. No, really, how are you going to make our lives better? How are you going to make our lives better? You know, as one of the people who is part of that 3,500 people who didn't vote for either of you, it's because I didn't see a difference. I did not see a difference at all between the two of you. Bruce was trying to be as progressive as you. You are being run by other people. Anybody who wants to know who's running Katie Wilson, she was actually asked about this today. I didn't get the audio clip of it. She was asked who is going to be her people in City Hall, and she didn't really list them, but I could tell you, you could see right now, it's the list we went through yesterday, over on her endorsements page. She even said it's people who are veterans of City Hall. Let's see, who are the veterans of City Hall on her page? Here we go. Communist Seattle City Council member Tammy Morales. Look at that. Far left council member Lisa Herbold. Yeah, she loves calling the cops on me. Excellent. Wants the police chief herself to come arrest me because she claims that an RV showed up at her house and I towed it there. Yeah, that is who's going to be in her office. Those kind of people. Tina Podladowski, the former head of the Washington State Democratic Party. That's who's going to be there. You know why so many people didn't vote for either one of you? Because both of you are terrible. Let's start with Bruce Harrell. You know all Bruce Harrell had to do to win a second term? I'll just go through a few steps right there. Bruce Harrell wins. Let's remember why he won. He won because it was coming off of the George Floyd riots in the Autonomous Zone. And people said it's him or M. Lorena Gonzalez, who used to be called Lori Gonzalez before she changed her name when she decided to run for office. So M. Lorena Gonzalez is just as bad as Katie Wilson. She was on the city council. She sided with defunding the police and everything else. Bruce Harrell gets elected. All he had to do was a return to normal. You know the first thing he could have done? Here was the very first thing. You had a shortage of police officers. You had a shortage of firefighters. So many of them left because of the riots. So many of them left because of all the crazy drug stuff on the streets. And you fired a lot of them because of your insane COVID mandates. That was what Jenny Durkin did. So you know what you should have said? You should have said, anybody who comes back we'll give you back pay, and we'll give you a bonus. Boom. Right there, you could have helped with the staffing shortages that we still have in the police department and we still have in the fire department. Right there. Missed opportunity. Didn't do that. Instead, he continued the cases against the firefighters, fighting them who just wanted their jobs back and wanted back pay. You know how much PR goodwill that would have earned him right off the bat? Second opportunity that he blew. Second opportunity was, you have, right here in front of you, you have the LEAD division, the Law Enforcement Assisted Diversion Program. What do? They take criminals and they go, oh, we feel so bad for you, criminal. We should just let this prolific offender go back on the streets. We fund that. Taxpayers fund that. He called for an audit on it. As soon as the far left went bonkers, shut it down. No more audit. There was never an audit of this failing program, which hasn't produced their data since, I think, 2016. This program, which, by the way, was the basis for New York's failed bail reform law. Another missed opportunity. Never audited Homeless Inc., just poured more and more and more money into it. In fact, Bruce Harrell said today he was so proud of the fact they spent $1 billion on homelessness, and they were going to spend $1 billion more. Katie Wilson, who's never had a job in her life, is going to be in charge of a multi-billion-dollar budget. How do you think that's going to go for all of us? One that's already $250 million in the red. She's just going to say, more taxes. Let's do more taxes. This one here from Rob in Port Orchard. He says, Commissar Comrade Katie needs a photo by the Stalin statue. It's a Lenin statue, not Stalin statue. Unless there's another one around here I don't know about. And I'm better off not knowing if there is a Stalin statue around here. No, the Lenin statue, for those of you who don't live in Seattle. Yes, some crazy Looney Tune communist brought one over after the fall of the Soviet Union and dumped it in Fremont. I may not know much about our area even after living here after 22 years, but I know about the Lenin statue because I remember the first time driving past it and going, what the hell is that? Where am I? Yes, the People's Republic of Seattle. Holy cow, we actually have one of those things. So I wonder what she's going to do when she realizes all the rich people are leaving, all the corporations are leaving, all the businesses are leaving. They're just going to tax all of us more and more. This is Bruce Harrell's fault, by the way, for being such a terrible mayor. Let's not forget what happened this summer. This summer, he had an opportunity to lay down the law. Wait, you know what? Before this summer, the last 2 years, he was elected as the law and order guy, and he let Antifa and Hamas take over the streets of Seattle. He let Antifa and Hamas, ever since October 7, 2023, take over bridges, take over freeways, take over streets, vandalize buildings. What about the stuff at UW? He never said a word about it, and this is a guy who doesn't shut up about UW all the time. And then, when Christians decide to have a rock concert on Memorial Day weekend, his Parks Department sent them to Cal Anderson Park, and the Christians are like, really? You want to send us there? We want to be in the Pike Place Market. No, go to Cal Anderson Park. So, of course, Antifa and the LGBTQIA radicals get all ticked off, attack them. The mayor's out of town, by the way. You know who was in charge at the time? Sarah Nelson, another failure. So, she's in charge at the time. I saw Bruce Harrell today. He's thanking Jamie Howson. Jamie Howson, his communications guy, was the one who was running the show while he was out of town. It wasn't Sarah Nelson. We got the emails. They showed they were putting out all these statements for Bruce Harrell, demonizing the Christians, demonizing the police, but, supporting Antifa. Gee, I wonder how you lost the Christian support. So let's see who you've lost so far. You've lost moderates. You've lost Republicans. You've lost Jews. You've lost Christians. How many other groups are there left to lose? Oh, you lost police, you lost firefighters. How many other groups are there left to lose? He tries doubling down on socialism. He tries doubling down on all these insane policies that the left likes. Fast forward to the Christmas tree lighting last year, where he's really kicking off his campaign. It kind of kicked off in January of last year. So fast forward to that. He's lighting the Christmas tree. Do you remember what that sounded like?
Welcome Seattle Mayor Bruce Harrell.
He has to yell over the boos. Woo! You ever hear him do that before? As soon as those boos start, he starts woohooing.
In case you didn't know it,
I'm a fiddle player too.
My wife and I, Joanne, were singing in the background. So thank you. We sounded beautiful together. The Jewel Toes.
Woo!
This is our home. This is our home.
stop right there. Was any of that part of the platform he was elected on? Any of that? No, that was the we don't like Trump, and he's about to be elected. He's about to be in office. We don't like Trump, so we're going to do all of this. That's what his big plan was. You know the moment I think where he really lost, and a lot of people are talking about this on the interwebs? When he made that joke about the Sonics coming back. Do you remember when he's giving the speech for his One Seattle, for his State of the City address, and he pulls out a basketball from behind the podium, and everybody thinks he's about to announce that the Sonics are coming back? He's as bad as Chris Daniels. Chris Daniels from Como News. Does this mean the Sonics are coming back? Well, Kevin, you think there's going to be a headline today? Katie Wilson elected mayor. Does this mean the Sonics are coming back? Does this end the opportunity for the Sonics to come back?
I'm sure that's one of the things she's championing right now is bringing back the Sonics.
Yes, because she wants another corporation she can tax, right? That's what it is. Yes, come here. Come here, my little basketball team. We'll tax you. Remember when Bruce Harrell did this?
Right now, at this moment, I have an announcement to make.
Here comes the basketball.
I'm just kidding. I got you.
He had to do an apology tour for that.
I can't believe every time I hear that.
Yeah.
Why did he think that that was a good idea?
He's got a bad sense of humor. Today, he was telling everybody he's going to become a rapper and that his rap name was going to be B. Rusi. He literally said that. Look it up. He literally said that today. B. Rusi. Yeah, why would you think that was funny? Especially when for years you're the one who's been talking about bringing back the Sonics. You think they're coming back now? You think they're going to want to come to the People's Republic of Seattle for a basketball team? No way. As corporations are fleeing?
The thing that kills me about that is is he clueless about how many people are so ticked off that these guys went away and are so frustrated that the NBA continues to mess around and not say anything about bringing them back? I know, again, I'm litigating this, a year after that happened? But
yes.
It's every time I hear it, I'm like, how dumb are you?
Well, that's exactly the question. He's dumb enough to lose to Katie Wilson, a woman who dropped out of Oxford, a woman who lives off her parents, and she's 43. Kevin, I'm 44. I'm turning 45 this year. She's my age, and she's living off her parents. And I love the way the left tries to couch it of, oh, isn't it great that her parents help her out? Not when you don't have a job at 43 and you've never had a job. It's one thing you lose your job. It's one thing the husband's out of work. He isn't choosing not to be at work. And then he's not even watching the daughter. He has the parents pay for the daycare. That's who's running the city. By the way, the left really hates when you bring this up. My social media has gone from all the anti-Semitic hate I always get to all the, how dare you say she doesn't have a real job? You don't have a real job because you're on the radio. I get that all the time. I have a great job. Thank you very much. I love my job. I love what I do. But you know what? I got to pay taxes and I have to pay bills. And I'll call mom and dad to pay my bills for me. It's nice that they help the kids go to college. But you know what? That's a nice thing that grandparents do. Not pay for the kids all the time because you don't have a job at the age of 43. Because you decide to form an activist organization or go busking, that's being a musician, at Pike Place Market, where I have never seen somebody holding a guitar that awkwardly. Okay, Kevin, you've seen this before. You know when somebody's holding an instrument they don't know how to play, and they're just like, where does my hand go on this? So she's holding the guitar. And she's grabbing the frets, but holding them as if she's going to swing it around and beat somebody with it. And her other hand, her palm is wide open on the wooden part of the guitar. She's not even strumming or anything. It's a video. She's not resting her hand there. It's a video. Somebody said, hold this guitar and make it look like you can be here in the market to appeal to the market people. She is so disingenuous. She is a fake. She is a fraud.
Maybe she's an innovator and she's got a newfangled style of playing guitar. Like maybe she's like Steve Vai or Eddie Van Halen.
Oh, I'm sure that's it. When she plays it behind her head, I'll be impressed, okay? When she's on her back going across the floor, then I'll be impressed with the guitar. She's not. She's being used by all these socialist activists. And you know who else is being used by all these socialist activists? You. They're about to get their agenda, and you're going to be the one who has to pay for it. Last one, Seattle. Last one leaving Seattle. Blow out the candle because there's not going to be electricity anymore thanks to Katie Wilson. Going to be lots of fun. When we come back, my friends, lots more to discuss. Apparently, there's a Santa Claus in one of our local malls who has a rap sheet for murder. Yeah, they actually hired this guy. We'll tell you all about it when we come back. But first, Todd Herman's Daily Thoughtcast, right now on the Ari Hoffman Show. Welcome back to the Ari Hoffman Show. Just a reminder to download the KVI app and subscribe on whatever your preferred podcast platform is. That way you never miss a minute of the show. Also, head on over to KVI.com where you can stream the show and sign up to be a KVI insider, so that way you get all the announcements of upcoming events and contests, plus so much more. Well, you thought the Katie Wilson news was bad enough? No, my friends, it just got worse. Kevin just sent me this from ESPN. The Yankees' Aaron Judge wins the AL MVP award for the third time in 4 years. Cal Raleigh had an amazing season, and I would argue if not for him, the Mariners would never have gotten as far as they did. You're giving it to Aaron Judge? What, you think more people are going to watch it because he's a Yankee? Okay, I may be a Mets fan, so I don't really love the Mariners, and I'm a bandwagon fan for the Mariners, but I hate the Yankees. I despise the Yankees. And you're giving it to Aaron Judge?
Yeah, I was going to say the Yankees need all the help they can get. No one's ever respected them or held them in high regard.
No, never. So this, according to ESPN, for months, debate has swirled around the American League Most Valuable Player Award, Would the honor go to New York Yankees right fielder Aaron Judge for the third time in 4 years for another extraordinary offensive season? Didn't help you guys get that far in the playoffs. Now did it? Or would it go to the Seattle Mariners catcher Cal Raleigh, who smashed his way into the record books with 60 home runs? In the end, voters narrowly chose Judge, who continued to cement his place among Major League Baseball's all-time greats by becoming the 13th player to win MVP 3 or more times. He joins Yogi Berra, Joe DiMaggio, and Mickey Mantle as the only Yankees to have accomplished that feat. You're right, Kevin. They really they have a whole category just for the Yankees that have done that. Just for the Yankee players that have done that. Judge finished with 17 first-place votes, 355 points in voting conducted by the Baseball Writers Association. I hate these guys. Just ahead of Raleigh. You know why this is a problem? Do you know why this is a rigged thing? Don't most of these guys live in New York? Aren't most of the baseball writers in New York? Very uncool. Very uncool. You know what? I'm going to reach out to the Mariners. I want to see if we can get Cal Raleigh on the show. I think we can do that. We'll give it a go. We'll see if we can actually get that done. That is sad. That is really, really sad. Cleveland Guardians third baseman Jose Ramirez finished third. Kansas City Royals shortstop Bobby Witt Jr. was fourth. Man, what a heartbreaker. What an absolute heartbreaker. Here's something else going on locally, my friends. According to Cairo 7 News, a local family is outraged after discovering that Robert Sealand, who was found not guilty of murdering his wife by reason of insanity 14 years ago, is set to play Santa at a Tacoma holiday event. Okay, I'm sorry for laughing, but if you're found not guilty by reason of insanity, that means you did it. You just weren't in the right mindset at the time. I mean, some people don't like having a dog around that's going to bite a person. You want a murderer? Hey, little child, what do you want? I want a Swiss Army knife. I used a knife to kill my wife. Are you people insane? Are you nuts? Sealand spent nearly a decade at Western State Hospital before his release last year. Hang on. Was he released because they lost their funding, or was he released because he's, quote-unquote, cured? He is currently under the supervision of the Department of Social and Health Services, as reportedly compliant with his medication and release conditions. You know what? It's fine. I'm overreacting, right? Santa's got elves around. Santa's got the photographer taking the picture. He's got Mrs. Claus. Somebody's dressed up as Mrs. Claus. Maybe there's some fake reindeer around. And there's lots of spectators at the mall. No problem. No problem. Let's have the murderer play Santa Claus. Cheryl Grassick, sister of the victim, Carol Sealand, said he shouldn't be allowed to just go around and exist in life like he used to before he took her life. I want to stop before it starts. And I don't think an innocent child should have to sit in that murderer's lap. Here's something else, by the way, guys. What if he takes a shine to one of the kids? And he goes, you'd look really good on my wall, Hannibal Lecter style or something. Cheryl Grassick, the sister of the victim, Carol Sealand, expressed her shock and fear upon learning that her sister's killer is participating in public events as Santa. She found out from family friends that Sealand himself posted on Facebook he was playing Santa Claus at a holiday swap meet in Tacoma from the end of November through December. He posted on Facebook he's allowed to have social media like that? They don't have restrictions for former murderers? Not former, he's always a murderer. She described the ongoing pain her family feels, saying, the family had been sentenced to life. All the families thought he'd been sentenced to life in prison with no parole. We're just going to have to keep living with this for the rest of our lives. Sealand's recent evaluation from Western State Hospital indicated he is active with the community mental health providers and is following all conditions of his conditional release. Great. Wonderful. Fantastic. Tell you what, public survey right now. Do you think this guy should be Santa at a mall? The guy who was found not guilty by reason of insanity for murdering somebody? Give us a call or a text, 206-421-5757. That's 206-421-5757. When we come back, Washington eliminated certain kinds of testing and standards for teachers. Well, what's our scorecard? What's our report card since then? We have the numbers for you. We'll give them to you when we come back. You're listening to the Ari Hoffman Show on Talk Radio 570 KVI. I saw this over on social media. I had to go verify it, but somebody was posting that 7 years ago, Washington eliminated its minimum testing score to become a teacher due to high failure rates. So this was legislation signed into law in 2019. Apparently, it was too hard for the teachers to pass the tests. So now the people who are teaching your kids are a bunch of dum-dums who don't know what they're talking about because they kept failing, had high failure rates. So what they do, they lowered the standards. This is how you literally get idiocracy. This is how you get the movie Idiocracy, where people are too dumb to take a test. By 2023, only half of the black teachers entering the profession passed the new math test, and they have sample questions provided below. I'm looking at these questions, by the way. They are remedial at best. And I put that on whoever's teaching the teachers. What kind of schools did you guys go to? Here, would you like a sample question? 7 plus 2 equals blank plus 6. 7 plus 2 equals blank plus 6. Well, let's see. 7 plus 2 is 9. And then what plus 6 equals 9? Hang on. Hang on. I'm going to pull out my hands here. I'm going to count it on my hair. So 6, we're going to go to 7, 8, 9. How many fingers is that? 1, 2, 3! 3! Oh, I got it. You guys can't pass this kind of stuff? Really? This is how bad it is? Why they do this, by the way? They found evidence to support that the West B, Washington Educator Skills Test Basic, creates an inequitable barrier into teacher preparation programs. They requested the legislature remove the passing score requirement for the test, which will allow teacher preparation programs to use more equitable ways of assessing candidate basic skills. You know what? What's a more equitable way? Do you have a pride flag in your classroom? Do you have one in your bio? Do you list your pronouns in your bio? Do you do that? Do you have an Antifa flag hanging in your classroom? Seriously, this is what we're doing. Oh, by the way, the UCSD math department administered the test with the question I just gave you. 25% of the kids got the question wrong. 25% of the kids. That's how bad things are right now, that the teachers can't even get these questions right. My favorite, they've got this thing right here. If a pilot flew a plane from Santa Fe to Tulsa to Houston, then back to Santa Fe along the route indicated, and they've got a map, approximately how many miles did the pilot fly? All you had to do was use the scale at the bottom and measure it. That's it. And they were failing this question. What other dumb nonsense did they have on here? Holy cow. The amount of people failing this test is unbelievable, and they're the ones who are teaching your kids now. No wonder all they're doing is talking about Antifa and the pride flag. That's all they've been taught their whole lives. You do realize that when you don't actually teach the kids how to read, how to write, how to do arithmetic, they grow up to become adults who don't know how to read, write, or do arithmetic because somebody passed them their whole lives. During COVID, I remember this insanity. They said, well, it's just going to be pass-fail. You know what? We feel bad for all the kids during COVID. It's just going to be pass. Pass. You know what's going to happen this year? Come spring, come summer? That's when all these teachers' unions in 2026 can go on strike demanding better wages, claiming it's all about the children. Well, you know what I would say back? Pound sand. The parents can probably do a better job teaching most of these public school classes than these teachers can. The question is, can you get enough volunteers? They should tell them to pound sand. And by the way, the strikes are not going to be over anytime soon because thanks to legislation signed by Bob Ferguson. You know what they get to do now? They get unemployment funds for going on strike. Any teachers union that doesn't go on strike is going to be out of their minds because you have everything going for you. The only thing I hope is that they bankrupt the unemployment fund. No, I don't, because there's certain people that actually need that thing. But that's exactly what's going to happen when every single teachers union goes on strike. And if parents want to say we have enough of this, pull your kids out or say, I volunteer to teach. That's what should happen. Because these teachers, I can do this math. And Kevin, you know I suck at math. I am terrible at math. I've said this. They said there'd be no math here. It's always math. How many more seconds do I have left in a segment? How many more minutes do I have left in a segment? It's all math. How much time does it take for me to read this piece of paper so that way I can factor it onto? It's all math around here. And I am not good at the maths. I could pass this test. Oh my God, I should get teacher certification here in Washington for Seattle Public. If this is the test, sign me up. I will do it. What's the English component? Can you read this sentence? The quick brown fox jumped over the lazy dog. Oh, look, I can do it. Fantastic. This is great. Oh, see, I can have a double profession. This would be great. I want to be a certified teacher by Seattle Public Schools. That's what I want around here. No, I really don't want to do that. I think you get hazard pay for doing that around here. It's absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. This text over here from Mike. Years ago, when I worked in advertising, a client was having a breakfast with Santa. One of the parents noticed something flesh-colored near the opening of his pants. It turned out to be part of his fat suit. Otherwise, he conducted himself very professionally. But there are problems with behavior in the industry. Okay, that's a little creepy there. Brian says no for the murderer Santa. That is crazy. This one here from Robin Lakewood. Murdering Santa? Wasn't that a movie? I think it was Bad Santa. Bad Santa. Yeah, crazy stuff. Santa Claus. Oh, I like that with the claws like the animal. Maybe he believes he's Santa. He did come out of a mental institution. Very good, Robin Port Orchard. Very, very good. Come on, guys. We're going to have the murdering Santa out at the mall? Are you kidding me? We go to the Warrior Injury Law Studio line, take a call from Mike in Everett. Mike, what's going on?
Hey, I was just wondering, is that for everybody that goes on strike or just the teachers?
So it's for unions that go on strike. It's for unions that go on strike. I think it's public sector unions.
But so that's only for the government people then, not for like Boeing.
I have to go check and see if it's every union or not. I don't remember offhand because I don't have it in front of me. But yeah, that's going to be kind of funny. If something like Boeing goes on strike, are they going to get these payments too? It's going to be bankrupt in 2 seconds.
No kidding.
Yeah. So
that's insane. And I have one other question.
Yeah.
Why is this happening after I retire? I want unemployment for going on strike too.
That's very good. That's very good. Yes, I want to go on strike for my radio show. I'll do that. I'll be marching outside. I want more money. Pay me. And then Bob Ferguson finds out I'm getting unemployment money, and then he'll shut down the program. That's what'll happen. Yeah. Mike, I appreciate the call. Appreciate you being part of the show. You want to be part of the show, you give us a call or text at 206-421-5757. That's 206-421-5757. Only good news to wrap up the show. Your good news headlines put a smile on your face heading into your evening commute. You're listening to the Ari Hoffman Show on Talk Radio 570 KVI. It is time to feel good as we wrap up another amazing episode of the Ari Hoffman Show right here on Talk Radio 570 KVI. And you can tell when I didn't have lunch when every good news story is about food. So today, every good news story is going to be about food. This one from WZTV. You may have heard of that Oreo is Milk's favorite cookie, but what about Gravy's favorite cookie? Nabisco is launching a limited edition tin featuring 6 new Thanksgiving-inspired flavors of Oreos, and they're not your typical dessert options. Okay, I love Oreos, but I've tried some of these goofy flavors, and they are terrible. Not the Thanksgiving ones. I've tried some of their other goofy flavors.
Yeah, they had some sort of stupid, what was it, Sour Patch Kids?
Oh,
ones?
it was awful. Did we try that together?
Yeah, I think it was.
I think that was a group
Not good
activity. It was terrible. Absolutely terrible. The lineup includes turkey and stuffing, sweet potato, creamed corn, pumpkin pie, caramel apple pie, cranberry sauce. Okay, out of those, I would say the caramel apple pie might be good. The pumpkin pie might be good. I don't know, man. I don't have high hopes for the rest of these. These all look
no.
Just like when Jones Soda did the same thing.
Oh,
It was
yeah.
just disgusting.
You know, they do this stuff so people like us will talk about it. That's what's going on here.
And then people will say, let's go buy this stuff for Thanksgiving dinner and see if anybody actually eats it. And then it becomes that snack that nobody will touch in your pantry. Everybody's got that shelf where there's just you don't have a shelf like that?
Yeah. No, it's awful. It sucks.
Yeah,
But usually I just take it to the garbage table at work here, but we're not allowed to do that anymore.
That's right. You can't put that stuff out.
Just
no
give them
more.
to Zach.
Yeah, because then some fool like Ari Hoffman comes walking along and I go, is there a kosher symbol on this? Never had this before. I'll try that. Oh, that's disgusting. No wonder it's on the giveaway table.
Usually if it's got sugar in it, Zach will take care of it.
Yes.
Like, no problem.
Each tin contains 2 cookies of each flavor packaged in a classic Oreo tin. The festive Thanksgiving belly brand. I'm going to say something unpopular right now. I think Hydrox is better than Oreos. Hydrox were the discount Oreos you would get on the East Coast. I actually think they were better, or maybe it's because of nostalgia. I grew up with them.
I believe they were first. This is one of those classic sort of things. They were first back in the day as a sandwich cookie with the dark chocolate and the white cream in the middle.
Yeah.
But Oreo won the battle or whatever, won the war. And I know they went away for a minute and now they're back. They're kind of difficult to get now. I went on a whole. My mom used to be a fan, and she was wondering if they made them anymore. And I went on this whole thing. It's like you can order them online or something.
It's not the same. You want them in the store, and you want to be like, I'm hungry today. I'm going to take home a box of these. I will say is that when Oreos first became kosher, they didn't become kosher till the mid-'90s or something like that. Oreos are kosher. Oh, my God, we get to have them. I'm like, Hydrox are better. I kind of like those. However, I will say that the vanilla Oreos, I like those. Those are amazing. I love those suckers.
They had birthday cake ones for a while that were really good, but I don't see them anymore.
I don't see those either. The double stuffed ones, and then I make myself feel better about myself when they have the thin ones, and they're the same. You're getting the same thing. The company describes the offering as a test and learn experience. A test and learn experience? No, I don't want to try your cookie when it's test and learn. Encouraging fans to sample the bold flavors, share feedback that could help shape future innovations. Don't do Thanksgiving flavors. Stick with the classics. Bring back the birthday cake flavor. We all like that. The cookies are available online at Oreo's website. They will not be sold in stores. While some flavors may sound unusual, the company says the goal is to offer fans a fun and memorable addition to their holiday celebrations. Well, isn't that nice? Here's another one for our very own King 5. Kraft has unveiled apple pie flavored mac and cheese. Okay, I'm not a mac and cheese fan. It's not my go-to snack. A limited time dish combines mac and cheese with cinnamon and green apple. You had me at the cinnamon, you lost me at the green apple for the sweet and savory twist. The new limited time Kraft mac and cheese apple pie flavor brings together 2 holiday meal classics, mac and cheese and apple pie. Designed to be a conversation starter. Well, you know what? Candy corn is too. And nobody eats that. It just sits there the whole time. The flavor combines the familiarity of Kraft mac and cheese with cinnamon and tart green apple flavors for a sweet and savory experience. Quote, this holiday season, we want to create a memorable experience for mac and cheese fans that felt as unexpected as this flavor pairing. That doesn't sell me on your thing. It doesn't at all. That's what Kraft Heinz Company said in a press release. The new apple pie flavor rounds out our flavor innovations for 2025 with its nostalgic blend of classic Thanksgiving dishes and bold flavor, marking the beginning of more shockingly delicious innovations to come from the brand. I'm a little afraid. Even the box don't look good. The box, because it's got the sour apple coloring, it's got this mint lime green background, it makes it look healthy. It makes it look like healthy mac and cheese. And I'm going to bypass the healthy. That's bad marketing right there, guys. Really
I love
bad.
the descriptions that you're reading for this nonsense.
Yes.
Why don't they just have the guy come out and just be like, yeah, we were looking for some ridiculous garbage flavors, mixing some things that almost sounds good, but not really. So they'll talk about it and people will buy it and do things online about how awful it tastes.
This is all
That's what we've done.
They go, if Hoffman hasn't had lunch, he's going to talk about this on the radio.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
he's going to need the content as filler for his show, and then he's going to talk about this. I don't know, guys. I'm very skeptical of this mac and cheese business. I'm not even so hungry that I want that. Meanwhile, at Starbucks, they're not just protesting over their wages, which are pretty good over at Starbucks. In a desperate frenzy, according to WSYX, Starbucks fans are upset and complaining about the lack of supply for the viral Starbucks Bear-ista cups as part of their holiday merchandise. They're little bears and their cups. And apparently people can't, people are crazy about this. I have a friend, this family we're friends with. Any Starbucks they go anywhere in the world, they buy the mug. They're the ones who do that. They buy it from whatever city they're in. They have collections of them. Starbucks posted the cute Bearista on social media on Wednesday, stating, "Who's getting a Bearista cup on 11/6? Let me know." Apparently, everyone wanted a cup. I'm looking at these things. They look cheap. They look like cheap garbage. They look like the bears with the honey in them, but emptied out. These look like cheap garbage. Apparently, everyone wanted a cup, and the supply of Bearista cups determined the number of customers who lined up as early as 3:45 a.m. on Thursday to get their hands on a glass bear mug. The 20-ounce cup, a glass cup sold in the shape of a bear, features a green beanie for a lid and striped white and green straw. Customers are upset they felt there wasn't enough supply, going to multiple stores to try and find one. People are even seen fighting on social media for the coveted bear cup. You have to pay $30 for these suckers, and they're reselling for up to $500. People are nuts. What is this, like a Beanie Baby craze, a Tamagotchi craze, snap bracelets? According to a Starbucks statement, the popular drink company said the excitement for our merchandise exceeded even our biggest expectations. Despite shipping more Bearista cups to coffee houses than almost any other merchandise item this holiday season, the Bearista cup and some other items sold out fast. Well, that's going to do it for us today, my friends, but fear not. We'll be back tomorrow with more insane stories and more exciting guests. You've been listening to The Ari Hoffman Show on Talk Radio 570 KVI.